TransLink is looking to create a number of new rapid transit bus routes, it says, including one that will connect Metrotown with the North Shore all the way to Park Royal. Now, there's been some debate about where that route will run through North Burnaby, though. There are two options on the table. One option would take the route through Hastings and Willingdon, creating a direct connection to local destinations in Burnaby Heights. The other option would be through Boundary and Lougheed, giving a direct connection to the Gilmore SkyTrain station. Now, we've got two guests with us in studio to talk about both of those options. Isabel Kolick is the Executive Director of the Heights Merchants Association in Burnaby. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. Dennis Agar is the Executive Director of Movement. That is a transit advocacy group. Good morning to you, Dennis.
Good morning.
Thank you both for being here. Isabel, to you first. The option one of this bus rapid transit route would run through Burnaby Heights, which would bring more people to Hastings Street. At face value, is that good for business?
Well, one thing to remember is that people are already using that corridor as bus riders. We have 7 bus routes. It's abundantly serviced, and we have about 50,000 boardings a day. Mm-hmm. It's a robust transit hub, and the option one would provide kind of like a replacement to the R2 system that we will have next year. And the R2 connects Park Royal and Metrotown in an express bus with the same stops as option one, but without removing our parking. And because we're a daily services kind of district where people come to get their pets taken care of, their groceries, their doctor visits, all of those daycares, family services, things like that. We don't believe that West Vancouver and Metrotown people will come to the Heights specifically for that.
You see them more passing through.
Yeah, we see them more passing through because if they wanted those services from us, they would already be doing it because they're already on the route.
Right. But the bus that's going from Metrotown to Park Royal now is not is it an express bus?
It's coming. Yeah, there's a 222 right now.
Yes.
It only runs rush hours.
Okay.
But next year they're bringing in an R2, which will replace that. It will connect Park Royal with Metrotown.
Okay, but that doesn't require removing parking.
No, it runs on the HOV lane based on demand. So
right.
when buses are more crowded, the roads are more congested, we free up our parking. It's a compromise that we struck in 1996 at great cost to the merchants. They do pay for it in lost revenues. But it's a compromise we've reached because it creates that happy medium, that balance that we're looking for. And that's why we're saying option one is a better balance because it does provide us with a BRT station right at the edge of our district, which connects with the R5, which comes every 5 minutes. Yeah. And it can still service the district. People don't remember that even if we get the BRT through our district to replace the R2, people still have to walk 7 to 10 blocks or take a connecting bus to use it. It's not that much of a gain in convenience for us.
Okay. Now, Dennis, there's a second option here that runs from the North Shore to Gilmore SkyTrain station. All things being equal when it comes to ridership and journey length, why not go Boundary and Lougheed?
What I'm picturing for Burnaby Heights is a nice European neighborhood with lots of shops and rapid transit running down the middle. If those of us that have been fortunate enough to travel to Europe, we can picture that scene in our heads. Option 2 runs that rapid transit down Boundary Road under power lines beside hydro transformer and car dealerships on a street on Lougheed, a segment that doesn't even have a sidewalk. And then it serves Gilmore Station, but Gilmore Station, of course, already has Millennium Line service. Yeah. So it really seems like it's really just bypassing Burnaby Heights, where the action is, where the shops and the residents and the apartment buildings really are.
But again, are you getting a lot of people who are getting on one of these routes because that's their destination, or are they getting there else by another route?
We've been hearing from Burnaby Heights residents. We've been hearing from Burnaby Heights residents saying, we get passed up by the existing bus service. So in terms of where the growth can be, I think there's a lot of room for transit ridership to grow in Burnaby Heights and to ultimately serve that community better who's so afflicted with pass-ups, the buses leaving them behind because they're full.
Isabel, go ahead.
And if I can respond to that, we also picture that European strollable pleasant pedestrian environment. But what would happen if we get the BRT is instead of 4 lanes of moving traffic during the majority of the day, now we would have a 6-lane highway running through our district 24/7. And if you've ever been on the Heights during HOV time, you can't hear yourself speak. You have to shout to the person next to you because the roar of buses next to you on the sidewalk, the loud volume of the vehicles, that kind of unsettling feeling of having moving traffic right next to you is very pervasive during HOV times. And that's with 5 lanes of moving traffic. Now imagine 6 lanes of moving traffic. Who's going to want to come up and have an ice cream next to cars blowing past you? Who's going to want to go for a pleasant stroll with their grandmother or whatever in a 6-lane highway? It's going to completely change the environment of our urban village. And that's the second arm of what we're trying to communicate, is that one, we think it's overkill because the current system is a beautiful balance. It does require some sacrifice and compromise on the merchant's part, but it also accommodates the transit users who have access to Hastings Street, and it also accommodates the local people who really need the curbside access. There's people of all sorts of abilities and disabilities, and the elderly, and parents with small children, and people bringing their dogs to the vet and carrying heavy things. We need that curbside access.
Dennis, when it comes to BRT in general, bus rapid transit in general, we spoke with Kevin Quinn yesterday from TransLink, and it sounds like they are going kind of all in on bus rapid transit right now. Is that a kind of, one-size-fits-all sort of solution that may not fit every situation?
Oh, that's for sure. BRT does not fit every situation. There are corridors that definitely need SkyTrain. Corridors, to UBC, and, SFU needs a gondola. But for the most part, what it does is it makes transit much better at a relatively low cost. And maybe we can just pause and kind of define what BRT is. It's largely different from kind of the picture that Isabel is painting. We've seen it go in Seattle and in Montreal and in Boston and in Utrecht in the Netherlands, and it's imagine lines down the middle of the street with stations and landscaping and that kind of thing, as opposed to having those lanes on the edge of the street. You can see TransLink's renderings, which kind of show little stations, and it's really everything you can do to elevate the bus experience without actually putting down rails.
So the TransLink plan is to run them down the middle of the road then?
They haven't specified which design, but to Isabel's point, we're going to be fighting for that to run down the middle of the road, and there's a lot of precedent out there. It would be difficult for TransLink to justify not doing it that way. When we see Seattle, just 3 hours away, have taken a 4-lane street and put buses down the middle on 2 lanes.
Why would they do that when they can just use the curb lane and not incur any expense?
The curb lane introduces a bunch of delay to the bus, right? Because you've got cars turning right in the curb lane. Anyone that's used the curb bus lane on Hastings today or on Georgia knows that the curb lane is the place you put buses when all you want to do is put down paint, right? But if you really want to elevate that experience and draw, 60,000 riders a day, that kind of thing, you put those people down the middle of the street where they have a dignified ride and they can move without any incursion from cars.
Isabel, just one last chance to respond.
Yeah, so a couple of things. Even if they put it down the middle, that still leaves the curb lane for general purpose traffic, and that's unpleasant all year round, in particular in the wintertime when it rains a lot in Burnaby and you get the splash of water on you on the sidewalk. So that's one aspect. And the other thing that I just want to remind listeners is that BRT is really rapid transit. It's not supposed to, it's great when it can go door-to-door service, but rapid transit is designed to move massive numbers of people across a long distance as quickly as possible, just like SkyTrain. And when SkyTrain was put in place along the Expo line, it was all single-family homes down it. It was not, supposed to be like a pleasant, scenic European trip. It's rapid transit. But look at how much has blossomed around the Expo line over the decades. And Boundary Road has that potential too. So
I think Burnaby Heights does too.
Well, Burnaby Heights is already developed, whereas Boundary Road isn't. And this way, if we have a BRT station at Hastings and Boundary, it serves the Heights District, it serves Capitol Hill, it serves the East Van with PNE, and it still allows us to have our community fabric in place.
Appreciate you both taking this on this morning. Thank you very much, and I appreciate the respectful debate. We'll see which way TransLink goes with this. Isabel Kolick, Executive Director of the Burnaby Heights Merchant Association. Dennis Agar, the Executive Director of Movement. That's a transit advocacy group. You can let TransLink know what you think by filling out their survey, translinklistens.ca. That's as one word, translinklistens.ca.